they're saying to you in a roundabout way is,
we're going to take a big dump on the carpet. Somebody else is going to have to clean it up anyway.
bingo.
Well, good morning. Welcome back to Talking Racine. And this is Mr. Jim Spodek over here. He's the producer of this show. And Mr. George Myers, who does a lot of research and picayune details that the rest of us depend on.
Okay.
Dr. Ken Yorgan, your host. And I've got a question. We're talking all the time in the city and the county and, about millions of dollars, billions of dollars, just money just flowing all over the place. Who cares about 20 grand?
No, absolutely.
And there's this proposal, a grant proposal that went through the city council on Tuesday evening, about $20,000, to accept it from Bloomberg, I believe, in New York, from the Financial Empowerment Fund. Man, that's quite a title. Financial Empowerment Fund. I could
Just getting close to that.
I
group
could
like
use some
that.
financial empowerment. Couldn't you?
I can feel it.
Oh man. So anyway,
Feel the growth.
it turns out that this grant proposal, the acceptance of it, was being given to the city council for their approval, but the money was already being spent.
That's right. It was for a study on how to. I think the study was on how to get more money.
Right. There's a plan.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was. But
Officially, it was planned development.
Right. But this original 20,000, people were going to New York to do some training. And I think the training wasn't on how to build businesses. I think the training was how to get money for the next stage, which would get money to how to do businesses.
Oh, George, you skeptic, you.
Yeah, I know. But here's the fun part. They got on a plane and they were flying there, and then it came up to the council while they were en route. It came up to the council to approve the money for them to go have the money to go en route.
But we want to be clear. Anytime the city accepts money for any purpose, it has to be approved by the city council to accept money. Now, this money is coming in. It's not taxpayer money, so that's fine and good. But the fact that they were already spending it before the city council says, yeah, we'll take that.
I'll tell you what it says. Yeah. It says that the city council is nothing but a rubber stamp. In other words, go ahead and spend the money. Go ahead. The council meeting's tonight.
Yeah.
We'll get it through.
Yeah.
A rubber stamp.
Don't worry. Don't
rubber
worry.
stamp, George. It's a cooperative attitude that's been developed here. A cooperative environment.
I hope the president of the council and some of his cohorts can be really proud of it down through the years to say, guess what we did when I was a alderman, talking to his kids and grandkids. I turned the city council into a rubber stamp. You know what? And that took some work.
Really, you think about that for a second.
That took
You don't even have the money. Truthfully, they could have said, no, we don't want that money.
It could have been turned down.
Yeah, it could have been turned down. But the fact is, do they ever, so buy the house. Well, take the house, here's the keys, just go in, set yourself up. Oh, we'll close that next week, no problem about it, we'll get the money at that time. Not going to happen. The same thing here. So it says a lot about that common council. Exactly.
It says a little about that common council.
Very little about it.
Well, the thing I'm concerned with is what the heck they're actually going there to learn. They're going there to study plan development. Now, Alderman Widener asked the question, well, what does that imply for the future? Well, we're just approving this. As the mayor had it. He saw something.
You want to watch it? We got a little clip.
Yeah, let's watch it just for your entertainment.
Coming from the city of Racine funding, so I just want to be sure that we are not going to be using tax dollars for this program, and that this is going to be funded by other outside sources, whether it's donations from corporations or however it's funded. But I just want it to be on record that it is not our intent that this would be publicly funded through any tax dollars, TIF dollars, or intergovernmental dollars.
This is the start of a process.
Okay.
We are getting $20,000 to do a planning grant. There are no dollars allocated at this time. If there was funding to be proposed, the council would have to approve it. The other thing that I would add is this is a project that seeks to improve minority home ownership in the city, something that is sorely lacking.
This is what the next thing that we want to spend money on. And my question is, now he mentioned that it's for inner city development, right, for helping minorities with housing. Why isn't there a TIF district for that? Or is that what's coming up? Is that what's being planned? Why is there a TIF district for the neighborhoods that we just had go in that don't really need it? I mean, come on, let's be honest.
And
It's really
if I wanted to do something for the minorities in this community, you know what I'd be doing? I'd be getting taxes lowered, and I'd be getting the regulations eliminated so that they could do it. I think when it gets down to what they're going to be studying is how to get through the government bureaucracies in order to get your business started up,
Right.
because there's not much else to do.
Absolutely agree.
If they're going into a business, they probably already know more than what they're going to learn at that seminar. They're going to already know about the restaurant business or car repair business or welding business or sales business, whatever it is. They're going to have more information and they're ready to go into business, but how the hell do I get started?
Well,
and the biggest problem is getting through the bureaucracy. So now we're going to set up and this is just 20 grand. This is just to go in. I'm convinced this first step is just to go in, do a seminar, because the next step is 120,000.
Well, who actually
And
is
it's going to
going
go
out
seminar. How are you going to raise 120,000? These are all matching grant things.
there? Who actually is going out there?
Oh, one of Corey Mason's staff members. Yeah, and
Just one
that's a
staff
really interesting story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jim, you got to tell the story. How did Corey Mason get started with the
Well, now
staff?
we can go
Remember that?
back. Well, this not this particular one, but the communications director was hired through the 900,000 jobs program. Remember back about a year ago, they were preparing for Foxconn, and there's $900,000 allocated for it. And what happened was they just happened to hire Shannon Powell that went to the county that then ricocheted back to the city.
He went for working for the RDA. He was RCEDC.
Right.
He was working for.
So
And
when
part
Corey
of
figured this
900,000,
out,
and then he shifted.
we
over
don't
to
have
the
to work
mayor's
too
office.
hard on this.
Yeah.
I can just
Yeah.
bounce these people into the office now, and we just lickety split. He's got 5, 6 of them in there now.
Yeah.
Now this particular one is now was on a plane, I think, at the time they approved this to accept
Yeah,
this
the
money,
20,000,
or maybe
right.
already there. I don't know, but I just to piggyback on what you said, I truly believe that really this is the planning on how to get into those tax dollars. If it's IG funds or if it's the TID money or if it's just straight up tax dollars. But I do believe this is just another program to start up to get another. We don't have the money for this type of stuff. Now I grant that, yeah. Home ownership is a great thing. I think people should have that opportunity to repair their credit if they need to buy a home or to start a business. That's great. But you know what? Banks work with that. A lot of private sectors who loan the money want you to be able to borrow money, and there's programs that you can tap into readily. So I don't know if it's necessarily if it's funded by private corporations and outside dollars. I'm all for it. But when it comes down to a program that's run by staff that has a pot of money available from the budget that the taxpayer is putting in, I got a problem with that because those turn into disasters. They've already got out the press release is already out exactly what they're doing and how it's moving. So I mean this is already in the chute,
Yeah.
So-
And the Common Council has approved everything the mayor has brought to them.
Well, I'm going to just bring up one more clip. I'm going to bring up John Tate, who talks to, Sandy Widener is asking these questions about the program. How is it going to be implemented and how it's going to actually be utilized within the city? And, well, we don't know anything because we don't know anything.
Yeah, just something I like to add. Remember, while she is arguing about this, like maybe we shouldn't pass this or considering passing it or not, these people are on the flight already spending that money.
Yeah.
So right about this now, they got a big screen. Oh, what the hell are you talking about, Alderman Widener?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're already
Don't
spending this
screw it up.
money.
We're
What do you
already spending it.
whether we should or not?
All right, I'm going to play. This is.
Oh, he's precious. Yeah.
Anything else that this body would approve funds for, there's a budget, and that has to go through this body. Any expenditures that the city does either goes through this body or the CDBG committee, which goes through this body. So the question of, is there going to be funds? Well, if there are, then it's coming here. There's no way around that. That's the city structure. If money is going to be expended, it's coming through this council.
Is that true?
That's utterly ridiculous. I mean, we already know that 2 huge places money gets spent and doesn't go through the city, although it should. One is by the Redevelopment Authority and the $10 million that they've been wasted on Machinery Row. And the other is these tax incremental districts these TIDs, where they are spending money and those TIDs, and none of that comes through the council.
No,
It could.
It's the board that approves it.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that all gets, it all goes, bypasses the budget process, so it's not watched, and it's not monitored at all well.
Well, he was like inflecting the truth in there, but not the facts. The truth is that anything that's spent on a city level, needs to be approved by the city council.
It's what it's supposed to be,
But something that comes through the RDA or the RCEDC, that's not a city level. Those are private enterprises, and the money out of the IG fund,
Even though it's government
for
money,
example,
that's right.
Yeah, is expended
And
by the
that's where I
RDA.
keep going back to where that's where you get this pool of money out there that says no oversight, even by this council. There's no oversight, and that's where the corruption comes in. That's where the money kind of
Right.
like filters and just disappears, and it can be, and who's watching it?
That's right.
Bureaucrats are watching it.
Well, and yeah, that's right.
And so when
And-
Corey Mason says we don't have a spot or it's just a planning process, there's money there somewhere, and it's going to come out of.
There wouldn't be a plan if there wasn't money to look
Exactly.
for. Yeah.
So that's bogus. But we've got other ones that we're following that were similar to. It started out
Yeah,
similar
some
ways.
other thing. Yeah, started off with a simple little plan, and it's only going to cost a couple bucks for this plan, and all we're going to do is look into how we're going to get a whole bunch of other money. So this isn't the first time we've been down this trip.
You got an example of that? or?
Well, let's go to Wild Root. We haven't brought Wild Root up in a while.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned
we haven't
Wild
brought
Root.
that up in a
Yeah.
while.
The market, the cooperative market, where everybody owns it, everybody's involved with it.
Right.
Whether you want to invest or not.
Well, now, currently, now this is the news out there that you're getting fed now, is that Wild Root Market is asking the county, Racine County, for $739,000 for this co-op. But we want to go back and look at the actual, originally how it started.
Started in Racine, at the city council level.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And
How was that?
they came in $290,000 from the intergovernmental fund is really where it came from. And the two persons that probably led the way were Corey Mason and his wife, actually Rebecca, was the attorney at the time on there. And of course, Amy Connolly was the director of city development at that time. And they talked about what Wild Root was going to do and accomplish with this grant of $290,000. One of it was they were going to buy the building at 500 Walton Avenue, which would have been their home, and they were going to spend $175,000 for that. Out of that grant money, they did that. They also were going to have, and in this it states that
And these are minutes from a council.
this is the minutes from May
This is what
of
the council was
2018.
going by. You
Right.
know, whether they're truth or not, we're not sure, but this is what the council was considering truth.
Now, two things. The Economic Development Corporation, WEDC, they had applied for a grant for $250,000, and that was back in May of 2018. That was
That's the
held.
Wisconsin Economic Development
Exactly.
Corporation, by the way.
They were actually going to be. That's like the quasi-government lending body that
Yeah.
banks get together with. And
It's a state version of the RC, Racine
Right.
County Economic Development. We have all these government economic development corporations.
Well, that's why our economics have developed so well.
Well, that's why we can keep the zoning restrictions so high and that tax is so high, is because we have these things to overcome them.
Well, one of
right.
the things that I think was the hook here was that she stated the financing has already been secured. Now we're going back to May of 2018 through National Cooperative Bank located in Washington, D.C., and $2.8 million will be invested into construction and equipment. The building will be revitalized and taxes produced.
Now you see how 100, what's this, the city's involvement was 120,000?
No, 107. Well, 290,000.
290,000, but that was going to bring about another $2.8 million.
Correct.
In other words, well, all right. This one right now that we're talking about is 20,000. It's going to bring about another 120,000 or
170,000 they need
whatever.
from outside money.
So
to
they
get
start with this
moving.
little thing, and they're going
Right.
to build it up something bigger. And the same thing was going on. That's the parallel that we're looking at between this and Wild Root Market. Yeah, we've been down this road before. Let's continue down the road though. Wild Root.
Yeah, what I think Jim is saying is, this thing was all sold on everybody that this is going to be this great and wonderful thing. All we need is this much money, and now they're asking the county for 700.
Yeah, it
739.
was 2.8 million they already had. Now they need another 700,000.
Well, what it tells me
for this
is
great supermarket up there
Right.
on Yount Street.
Well, here's what it tells me, that the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, they were going to get $250,000. Well, that obviously did not come in because they looked at them and said, geez, I don't see the money here. The $2.8 million that was secured, I don't know where that went. Somewhere that's.
But this is all closely monitored. Oh no! Wait a minute.
Wait a second.
Whoa,
Nobody's
wait a
watching.
minute.
No.
Well, it's
John
just-
Tate's in the
all right.
election.
Sorry,
It says
Mr.
it'll be
Tate.
invested in construction and equipment, but I drive by there occasionally. I don't, I don't really see a lot of
Well,
activity.
here's the
Maybe-
real kicker. Now, I suspect that the $739,000 are asking from the county, there is a clause in the agreement with the grant money that says the $175,000 city money was dispersed to Wild Root for the purchase of the property at 500 Walton Street, per the agreement. Per the property conveyant, if Wild Root Market has not closed on its private financing by December 31st, Wild Root must deed the property back to the city, and the city would then sell it to recoup their grant money of $175,000.
What's that about?
Yeah,
So-
another deadline.
Yeah.
Another urgent situation developing.
Let's see how well it's monitored by the city
But
council.
what I'm saying is, now just think about this for a second. Take one step a little deeper into it. Now, Wild Root has the building. The city is going to say, listen, our agreement says you got to deed that back because you were unable to secure your financing and your project obviously is not moving forward. Now you're at the county level asking for the money there, which I might add, I don't even know if they ever looked back onto what the real history of Wild Root was to actually make an educated decision on how that financing should be appropriated. But they're obviously in a tight spot. They got to come up with some money and they got to get this thing rolling, or they're going to have to deed that building back. But are they really going to deed it back? Think about it. I own the building. Well, yeah, okay. Well, I don't want to deed it back. What do you got to do? Now you got to foreclose on them. No, wait. They did that before. Didn't they put a deed in lieu of foreclosure on?
Yeah, somewhere
I don't
in
think they
Machinery
did.
Row.
Yeah,
Machinery
they
Row.
didn't do that on this one. But what I'm saying is, this thing is just pull the plug. I mean, it's time to pull the plug.
Well,
out.
it's really not a co-op in the traditional sense of the word.
Exactly.
It's I don't know what it is. It's some kind of a hybrid, and it's not working very well.
It's a toy. It's a toy for people that want to have a co-op. I'm
And-
sorry
yeah,
to say that, but that's what it is. Because real grocery people would not go into this kind of depth into a co-op.
No.
You start out with almost used equipment. I know a little bit about grocery business, and this is not
You
the
get
way
a
to
crummy
do it.
little building, some used
You
equipment.
start out
Yeah.
small and you grow into that. When they're talking about living wages and all the rest, are you kidding me? You're working like a dog 24 hours a day on that. You never stop. And your family's in there and everybody else is in there. That's how small grocery stores start. And it's very, very difficult to run a grocery store and cut a profit.
Very low markup
Very
on
low
food.
markup,
Food, we
yeah.
have a overproduction of food in this country.
Yeah.
And it's
So-
really the free labor that allows it to happen.
Absolutely. And if
that's what
members
the
are there,
co-op
they're
is.
going to
The
do it. But,
members
you
do
know,
the work. Yeah.
That's why it's a co-op, because
Exactly.
everybody's going to chip in a little bit, and you
Right.
get a lot of people doing
but
that.
if they
you
can't
make it
even
go.
get the windows washed and the building, I just,
And then
I'm sorry to say, I'd love to see it happen, but it's a loser.
I would be a customer,
Yep.
that's for sure, right up there.
But they're way, way, way over the top on financing. I mean, and they're not going to get it. And if nobody's borrowing you the money, that's a real pretty good indication your plan is not working.
Yeah,
So
that's bad news.
And yeah,
but that's not the only projects that have we can.
You want to go through an inventory of projects?
Well, we're here. We got a little time.
Yeah. How about the $900,000 jobs program?
you
How
brought
did
that
that
up
work
a little
out?
earlier.
Yeah, that was another loser.
Yeah.
A lot of money
Well,
gone.
we've got a director of communications, community communications as a result of that, and there were I think 12 people employed through this program, 7 of
Something
whom
like
had
that.
jobs
Yeah, I
before
mean-
the program.
It was, if you broke it down, it became some ridiculous numbers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to keep going cold water on everything, but when your track record is this poor, I mean,
Well, another thing that bothers me about that. Now we're back to the current one. The $20,000. I mean, we've talked about other times on this program about things that are coming up within a couple of weeks or a couple of days, and giving the council very little time to do something. This one, the time's already gone past. I mean, the person's already on the plane, and we're considering it. And we keep getting into these things with the council where there's no time to look at something and discuss it. What was the most recent one where it was coming? Oh, the two TIDs.
Yeah,
the two TID district. Whoa, now there's a beauty, man.
Well, not only that, the health
we're
insurance.
finding out more and more about
the health
these TID
insurance
districts.
on the employees. That was another one. Hurry up.
Oh, we got to do it. We got to do it right now. You haven't got time to discuss it. No public hearings, nothing. Let's get it done.
Get it done.
And this is the real problem behind it. Why wait to the last minute? Well, this by the way, according to these minutes, was presented by none other than Mayor Mason. He's the one that's come up with this $20,000 proposal. Well,
from Bloomberg.
Which I might add, there's a lot of campaign contributions from New York to Corey Mason.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Gee.
You never know.
Okay, well, back to the inventory here. How about Foxconn? How's that going?
Well, we're going to talk on Foxconn, George.
Foxconn, boy, I tell you what, that is a TID. We researched it now. That is definitely a TID. Mount Pleasant, look out. I always hate to predict what we're going to do in future programs because so much comes up. So much material crosses Jim's desk. We were talking about a little earlier. There's a huge gap in there between what's going on and what the public knows about it, and we're trying to fill that gap. But it's a big gap to fill, folks. But at any rate, I'm already making my excuses for not doing this next week. But next week, we would like to explain more about TID districts and what's coming up for Mount Pleasant, because it's big and it needs to be. Look, people need to know about these these districts, and then the council needs to have time to look at it and the public time to look at it before they decide to approve it.
I'm excited for that $20 million check, that tax check that's supposed to be coming in.
With Foxconn? Yeah, that'd be marvelous if it comes through.
Because Mount Pleasant is on the hook for what, $750 million?
About $1 billion.
They're closing in on $1 billion.
$1 billion.
Well, they had the 750, and then there's always.
Well, there's extras.
Yeah.
I can't. $700 million.
$750 million.
Oh, hey. Well, here's another good one. The Tim Tompkins, and it's listed here as hush money.
That's what our program. That's what our program says.
Tim Tompkins was the director of human resources down for the city, and he left recently, and was given a severance package of $231 million.
Thousand.
$231,000.
We're not Foxconn.
Sorry, I apologize. $231,000.
What's $1 million anymore?
Yeah. Well, it gets close to $250,000 when you figure in his health insurance payments are going to continue on the part of the city taxpayers until he's age 62 or until he gets a job somewhere else, which who knows if that'll happen. And the whole thing was based upon the fact that he had a discrimination suit against the city.
It's a hush money payment. That's what it is.
Absolutely.
I don't give a damn. I don't care what anybody thinks. It was a hush money payment to get that kind of money. And again, the Common Council comes in and votes for it and just gives it to them, no questions asked. Where's the proof? What happened? How do you pay someone off in a position, city position, that type of money without any kind of a quiet agreement? What is this? This is not some secret organization. This is the community tax dollars you're spending on keeping someone quiet.
It was hush money given in a hush committee meeting.
Yes, exactly.
It was all kept secret.
There's a lot more to this, and we'll get to that, down the road.
Are we going to be able to do that?
Yeah, we are.
No, the mayor and the administrator had nothing but glowing, wonderful, complimentary things to say about Mr. Tompkins. I just can't believe that they were involved in anything.
The Journal Times came out with an interesting
They did, and they did a good job with it, and they can go further. There's more to it.
There's more there. There's more dirt under the rug.
Anybody watching this from Journal Times, there's more there. Go find it. It's there.
Okay, now we got the, and these again are all things that are approved for the mayor bringing forward. They're all approved by the city council. The health care change to the employees.
That was the closest one that actually got
that was
where
an
the
8-7,
and that was the closest one where the council, actually
challenged the mayor.
Whoa. Exactly. Yeah. Whoa. But what's funny about that? The union.
Where's Jason when we needed him? Oh
yeah, he flipped the can.
He came through just at time.
Yeah. And, these union, pro-union people, all of a sudden it's like, what happened? What happened to you
It
guys?
was a tough decision. It was a
It was a
difficult
tough one.
decision.
Very
you know.
difficult. Again, we went through that with the show. And
They
it's just-
hated reaching down into the pockets of those good union employees, but by God, they had to do it because what the hell? They had $250,000 here that they had to give to Tim Tompkins. Developments that have gone bust by the hand of the mayor.
Well,
You want to flesh that one out a little bit?
absolutely. These developments come into the community.
Was
and
he
then-
involved in Machinery Row at all?
Oh, yeah.
It seems like that
Yeah.
picture of all those people down there that were touting this as the biggest development in the history of Racine. If I remember correctly, then State Assemblyman Corey Mason
Oh, yeah.
was present. And a
Absolutely.
big part of in fact, didn't he introduce the people who developed the plan
Yes, he did.
to Mayor Dickert?
Yes,
They were
he
friends of his from Madison.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, that was a good one. This is a good track record we got here.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
TIDS 21 and 22, wasn't it actually 22 and 23?
22 and 23.
Yeah.
22 and 23, yeah.
They flew right through recently, and we discussed that, so.
Didn't have time they didn't have
No
time to
time
even
for
consider it. No,
No,
they
no,
had
you
to
gotta
get it
get
now.
this done. Gotta
It
get
was
this done.
Very, very close to
And this
deadlines.
is all the stuff, and I think back in the meeting on Tuesday, I remember, well, we don't know what's going to happen with future consuls and future mayors, was the term that Corey Mason used. And it struck me because, this is the same stuff that happened when the head of
Dave-
finance,
Dave Brown used that
We don't know
exact-
what's going to happen
Yeah.
in the future when, this
Future council members, future mayors, they'll have to deal with this.
So basically what they're saying to you in a roundabout way is,
We're gonna take a big dump on the carpet. Somebody else is gonna have to clean it up anyway.
bingo.
Yeah. Man, oh, man. Well, I think we've said enough for this morning,
We
actually.
have, yeah.
This went by fast, but man, oh, man, there's a lot of stuff going on here, folks. I'm going to ask you right now, go ahead and share this with other people and get people to sign up to watch this little program that we got going on here, because we know that it's making a little bit of difference in this community. We'd like to make a whole lot more difference. And give us a hand with that. Share it with your friends, share it with your family. And thank you for being here. We'll see you next week.